Hey folks, Dr. Dan here from DocTalk. Man, I'm glad you joined the show today. We're going to have a great show. We have Dr. Tiffany Lee going to join me, and we're going to discuss cattle comfort. And I know that sounds like pillow tops and throw rugs, but what we're talking about are things that we can control mud, heat, and different environmental conditions. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the show.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk, and y'all are well aware that I teach at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, and on Saturday, November 8th, there's going to be a meeting. This meeting is going to be held for veterinarians and producers to understand the new regulations, whether it's veterinary feed directives or other regulations associated with antibiotic usage that will affect you and your veterinarian. Be sure to join me in Manhattan, Kansas on November 8th and get registered prior to that at www.ksvma.org. See you Saturday, November 8th in the Little Apple.
DocTalk, brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick. In Wamego, just a short drive down the yellow brick road.
Hey there folks, welcome to DocTalk. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. We have Dr. Tiffany Lee, who's a veterinarian and works here at the Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State University doing research and field events and outreach and many different things, but has practice experience from Northeast Kansas originally.
Yes, Leavenworth.
Yep, and a Kansas State alum. And we're going to talk today about cattle comfort. And, you know, I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there, but, you know, when cattle comfort equals production, it equals efficiency. And when we don't have it, we don't have efficiency.
Exactly. And I think we also don't have adequate animal welfare at times. You know, when we talk about things like pen conditions, mud is a big factor in that. And when you have cattle that are slogging through mud just to get to water, you know, you have problems, and sometimes that's an animal welfare issue. Now, mud cannot be avoided. We're outside and you know, it rains. So we can't avoid it, but we can do some things to help prevent cattle wading through knee-deep mud just to get to their food.
Yep, and I was raised in southwest Iowa, and if there's one thing that I understood was mud and getting the boots sucked off your feet walking through the lot. So like you said, mud's going to happen, but what are some of the things that producers can do when we have those adverse rainfalls or those uncharacteristic rainfalls that there's something we need to do?
Sure. I think prevention is probably the key thing that you need to do. You know, using adequate pen maintenance, sloping of pens, things like that. You always want to make sure that at least the areas around your water tanks and your feed bunks are clear of mud. If they have to wade through mud that's over about 4 inches above their fetlocks, that's definitely not something that we want to have to deal with. And again, we always want to have the cattle have a dry, clean place to lie down.
And what's the best way for that in a feed yard situation?
I think pen maintenance is the best thing.
Mounds.
Mounds are very good. You know, making sure that you have adequate manure harvesting, building those mounds, and then even when the cattle are not in the pens, maintenance needs to be done.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we had when I was in practice is we developed standard operating procedures so that we had a constant maintenance of our pen floors, constant mapping to make sure we were getting rid of low spots, and then that mound building, which, as we'll talk about with some of the heat stress, not only does it give them a dry place to lay down in the winter and spring and fall, but it gives them a place to get up above and catch a breeze in the summer.
Yes, definitely. And you know, in the wintertime, it's not necessary that, you know, they may not necessarily need a breeze, but it gives them a clean, dry place when you have lower evaporative conditions and you have mud in those lower spaces.
Absolutely. And I think that keeping your mounts or keeping your aprons around the bunks clean, so that cattle, they're kind of like us. If it's not easy to do, they don't do it. Mm-hmm. And so you want them at the bunk.
Exactly.
But we don't want that to be the only place that they go lay down either.
Yes, we definitely don't want them laying around the bunk. That, you know, if cattle are laying around the bunk, a lot of them won't eat just because other cattle are in the way. They don't want to move, they don't want to do anything, and then the cattle that are kind of left out are the ones that are probably not eating as much as those cattle already up there anyway, and so then you've got some problems with those ones not eating as much as they should.
You bet. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Dr. Tiffany Lee here on Doc Talk. We're glad you joined us, and we'll see you here after the break.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica Inc.
Hey there folks, welcome to today's BQA Tip of the Day. Today we're going to talk about injection sites. The first thing, location of that injection. We want to make sure that we go in the target area of the neck, that's the triangle with the vertebral column, the point of the shoulder, and above the jugular vein. After we look at the location, we want to select the proper needle. I use 16 and 18 gauge needles most all the time for all injections of cattle. For sub-Q injections, I will use a 5/8 inch needle or a 1/2 inch needle. For IM or intramuscular injections, we'll use a 1 inch to 1.5 inch needle. Sub-Q injections should be administered at a 45-degree angle, and the IM will be perpendicular straight into the neck of the calf. That is today's BQA Tip of the Day.
Doc Talk, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Tiffany Lee, and we're from the Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State University, and we're talking about cattle comfort. And as we left, we were talking about mud, and one of the things that I found with mud, Tiffany, was that we kind of get into this locked, paralyzed indecision that if we can't clean the whole pen, we do nothing. But you know, sometimes just hooking onto that box blade, making one lap around the pen in the times of adverse rainfall or in the winter, to just give them a comfortable place until we can get to the point of cleaning the whole pen.
Yep. That does a world of difference. It provides them a clean, dry place to lay so that they're not making huge mud holes at certain places, like around the bunk, and they're maintaining a clean, dry area, you know, for them to be comfortable in.
Yep. Well, we'll move on, but I always remember the dairyman saying that a cow that's laying down is a cow that's making milk, and in the beef industry, a steer that's laying down is one that's making beef.
That is true.
So, heat stress.
Yes.
Is another issue that we have during the summertime, and you know, it's not a Canadian issue, but it is once you get south of I-70 or east with the humidity, can be a big issue. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, what are some of the signs that cattle are going through heat stress?
You know, a big sign that cattle are going through heat stress, and everybody's probably witnessed it, is respiration rate, panting scores. We actually have studies that have been done on different panting scores and how they relate to the heat stress, and actually that's a very good indicator of whether cattle are feeling the stress or not. So that's a huge thing. Whether cattle are bunched up around that water tank, that's a big indicator of whether they're heat stressed or not. And you know, that's one thing where we could definitely, I guess, look at heat stress from a prevention standpoint. Just make sure that they have clean, potable water so that they can stay hydrated during those
Yeah, and you
periods
get
of
into some of those big cattle. I used to just take the big silver tank and put it in the corner of the pen with a water tank or Balzer gun and fill those up to just give more linear square footage of cattle that are you know, in trouble or cattle that are suffering from heat stress. When you start to think about heat stress, you know, the first thing I think of is, first of all, you know, the thermal heat index, and as temperature stays stagnant or stays put and humidity goes up, we have more heat index on those cattle. What's one of the first things you need to do when you start to see elevated heat index?
Well, I think one of the first things that you need to do is make sure that you have adequate pen space and an adequate mound so that those cattle can get up off the ground into a breezy situation, because when you talk about your temperature humidity index, one big part of that is wind as well.
Yep. And take down your wind blocks from the winter.
Yes,
and mow the
definitely.
weeds.
That's a big thing. Yes, yeah. Now, those wind blocks, some people might think that they provide some shade. Most of the time, that's not the case, and you're going to do more harm than good as far as preventing all that wind, that air from reaching those cattle.
Cool. Well, we got to take another break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about pen space since we're on that.
Yeah.
And one of the big things, folks, when you get that thermal heat index up, cease and desist working cattle. Don't want to run through the process and shoot. We'll be back after the break.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
DocTalk, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. It's Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Tiffany Lee, and we're from the Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, and we're talking about something that's vitally important to beef production and beef cattle health, and that is cattle comfort. And when we talk about cattle comfort, we're talking about comfort in the pen, the ability to express normal behavior, and to stay comfortable from the elements. And so let's talk about pen space, because it is one of those things that we assess on the BQA assessment tool. So what exactly, when you're looking at pen space, or if I'm walking out to my pens to make sure I'm providing adequate pen space, what are some of the things you're looking at?
I like to go out and make sure that every single head of cattle in there has adequate room to get up and have its own place to lay down, walk around and exhibit normal behaviors. That is what I'm looking for. Make sure that they all have enough space to do that.
Yep, and I think that we can even take it a step further with if you're going to build mounds, you should provide a mound that all the cattle can get on.
I agree.
Because then the ones that don't get on the mound are those lighter, more frail animals, and they wind up getting pushed out.
Yep.
Speaking of the lighter, more frail animals, bunk space is another
Yes.
issue within the pen.
Yes.
And it's my rule of thumb is on high-risk calves, I want them all to be able to get up to the bunk at once.
Definitely, yes. Your lighter calves that come into the feedlots, they're not quite used to the bunk maybe yet, or they're not quite used to being on a a feedlot diet, you definitely want all of them to be able to go up to the bunk at once and get full at once, so that they all know, what they're doing when they go on to a finisher ration.
You bet. What about slope and drainage and pen space? I mean, you alluded to that at the beginning when we were talking about mud, but talk to me a little bit about the positives of slope.
Okay. Well, with your slope, you definitely want the slope to be away from your apron, and that's because you want the most drainage at the places where where you want them the most, where they are going to eat, basically. You want to provide adequate drainage so you don't have mud in areas where they want to eat or where they want to drink or where they want to lay down. If you have adequate slope, that provides enough drainage so that they can do all three of those things in a clean, dry area.
High traffic areas, folks, are really important that you get out every year, look around your water tanks. There's nothing worse than dropping off the face of the earth right at the water tank where the calves have spent a lot of time and a lot of traffic, and that's where your wear and tear on your pins is going to be. So making sure you haul some rock in. We're so busy worrying about hauling stuff out.
Yep.
Sometimes we have to haul some things in.
It's true.
On pin space,
Yes.
what are we looking at? There's a lot of range, isn't there?
Sure. Oh, yeah. And your range really depends on kind of where you're at in the country. Dr. Dan and I were talking before, and we like to see a little bit less pens. I guess you can have a little bit less pen space in the more dry, arid regions of the country, and you can have a little bit more pen space in the wetter areas of the country. So.
Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll put some numbers to it, and
Sure.
we'll wrap up the show. Thanks for watching Doc Talk. We'll be back after the break.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Hi there, folks. Dr. Dan from K-State. Are you BQA certified? Well, if not, you should be. If you work with beef cattle in any aspect, whether it's cow-calf, stocker, or feedlot, or if you work in an auction market, if you're a 4-H or an FFA member, or if you're ancillary to the beef industry, it's something that you need to do and become familiar with. Beef quality assurance has been around for over 25 years, and it serves as a cornerstone of education to help producers identify management processes that can be improved. Not only have those that are involved with the beef industry embraced BQA because it's the right thing to do, they have also gained through increased profitability. Traditionally, BQA training is offered face-to-face through your state coordinator, and it still is. But today, you can also have this educational opportunity, which can be obtained through the Beef Quality Assurance online training provided by Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. Go to the website bivi-bqa.com where you can register and become BQA certified at no cost to you between now and October 31st. Also, if you register and become certified between now and October 31st, you can also be entered into a drawing to win some great prizes, including a tailgate package valued at $500. It's a great program. It's been around for almost 3 decades. It's a cornerstone to safe, wholesome, affordable beef. It's Beef Quality Assurance. Get certified today.
Meet the Veterinarian, brought to you by Zuprevo. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Dr. John Kellenberger joined Ashland Veterinary Center in 1996 and became a partner in 2003. AVC cares for large and small animals and serves a 4-state area. Dr. Kellenberger received his BS in Animal Science and Industry and DVM degrees from Kansas State University. He and his wife Angie are proud parents of 3 children and enjoy the company of 9 dogs, 5 cats, and 5 horses.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Turn to Essential National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand ag professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank. Money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
This segment is brought to you by Tarwater Farm and Home. Come on by, we'll treat you like family.
Folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson and Dr. Tiffany Lee, and we are veterinarians here at the Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. And, you know, when we talk about pen space, when you're in arid regions like West Texas, Eastern Colorado, Western Kansas, you know, we can get away with 150, 250 square foot of pen space per head. But when you get into Southwest Iowa, on outdoor facilities, open air facilities where the elements are not blocked, we're not talking about barn situations, you know, now you're talking 500, 700 square foot provided. The more mud you have in your geographic region, the more pen space you have to provide cattle so that they have adequate places to lay down and stay dry.
Sure.
All right. Tiffany, you've been working some with the Beef Quality Assurance Program.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about how all this plays into the new welfare assessment or the BQA assessment tool for feedlots.
Sure. So our BQA assessment tool, I think it's a great tool. It's a self-evaluation tool. So that's the biggest thing. It's not an audit or anything like that where you're going to get punished for having someone come out here and look at your facility. It's something that you can use as a tool to improve your facility. And what we evaluate on these assessments are things like pen conditions, the way that you handle your heat stress, along with other things such as processing, handling, and things like that.
Yeah, and I've done quite a few of these assessment tools, and like you said before, the difference between an audit and assessment. An audit is a bean counter coming in saying yes or no, you do this or you don't. Yeah. An assessment is something that a veterinarian can work with their producer and walk through, and as you see something that you want to have corrective action, let's talk about it. Let's plan it. Let's fix it. Let's make it better for the cattle, and that's a lot different than audits. I think are built on distrust between groups, and assessments are building blocks and bridges towards improving animal welfare.
I agree. I very much agree, and I think that this not only builds a better facility for your facility. I think it builds a relationship with your veterinarian and a relationship with your clients as well.
Yeah, I think when I think of BQA, I think the thing that makes me the most proud about that document is it is a document written by veterinarians and producers for veterinarians and producers to improve the welfare and the health of the animals.
Yes, I agree. I would definitely agree. I think that it's a great tool to use. And I hope that we can, pretty much get every producer to at least try to use it and try to work with their veterinarian to improve not only their facility, but it'll help us improve the industry as a whole.
Well, I sure appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. And we appreciate you watching DocTalk. If you'd like to learn more about what Tiffany and I do here at Kansas State University, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. Remember, we always recommend that you work with your local practitioner. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. Thank you very much for joining us today on DocTalk, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.